He only looked up when the little girl placed a half-eaten sandwich beside his drawing, slow, careful, like she was offering a piece of her own heart. The child smiled and whispered, "You draw really good airplanes." The boy blinked, his fingers trembling around the sandwich box. Then, softly, he said, "No one ever said that to me before." And just like that, in a world rushing to catch flights and meetings, kindness decided to land. The airport shimmered under pale December light, a blur of glass reflections, suitcase wheels, and tired smiles. It was the kind of place where everyone seemed to be going somewhere, yet no one truly looked at anyone. Near Gate 47, Mark Reynolds sat at a polished table, his laptop open, his fingers flying over the keyboard as if time itself could be delayed by his busyness. His suit jacket hung neatly on the chair. His coffee sat untouched. Across from him, his 7-year-old daughter, Sophie, swung her legs under the table, humming to herself as she sipped hot chocolate with both hands. It was almost Christmas, though Mark barely noticed. His flight to Chicago had been delayed again, and all he could think about was the presentation waiting on his screen. He didn't see the world outside his work anymore. The flicker of lights, the laughter of children, the snow beginning to fall behind the glass walls of the terminal. But Sophie saw everything. Her gaze drifted past the rushing crowd until it landed on a small boy sitting near the trash bins. His jeans were torn at the knees, his jacket too thin for the cold air leaking from the automatic doors. He wasn't begging, he wasn't even talking, he was just drawing airplanes, tiny and imperfect, on wrinkled napkins using a half-broken pencil. Each line trembled with effort, but his eyes were bright, alive. Sophie tilted her head. "Daddy," she said softly. "Hmm?" Mark didn't look up. "There's a boy over there. He's drawing airplanes." "That's nice, honey." He kept typing, eyes glued to his screen. Sophie frowned. "But he doesn't have paper. He's using napkins." Mark sighed, still not looking. "Don't stare, sweetheart." But Sophie couldn't look away. Something about the boy, the quiet focus, the way he held his pencil like it was his whole world, made her chest ache. When their food arrived, she picked at her sandwich quietly, her mind far away. Halfway through, she closed the box carefully, her eyes steady and full of something her father had forgotten long ago. She looked at him and whispered, "Daddy, can I give him my sandwich?" Mark froze, his fingers pausing mid-type. For the first time that morning, he lifted his head and saw what she saw. A boy drawing dreams on trash. For a long moment, Mark didn't say anything. The noise of the terminal seemed to fade, the rolling suitcases, the laughter, the endless boarding calls, until all that remained was the quiet between a father and his daughter. Sophie's small fingers clutched the sandwich box tightly, her eyes fixed on the boy by the trash bins. Mark opened his mouth to say something practical, something adult, "We don't know him," or "someone else will help," but the words felt heavy, hollow. He saw the hope in her face, and something inside him hesitated. He sighed softly. "All right," he said. "Go ahead. Be careful." Sophie smiled, that kind of pure smile that melts through coldness like sunlight. She hopped off the chair and walked across the polished floor, her red hoodie swaying as she moved. Heads turned. People watched without understanding why. She walked past businessmen tapping on phones, past travelers clutching coffees, until she reached the corner where the boy Saturday. He looked up, startled. His fingers froze over his sketch. Sophie knelt beside him and gently placed the box in front of him. "Here," she said. "You can have it." The boy blinked. His voice came out like a whisper, afraid of being heard. "For me?" Sophie nodded. "You draw really good airplanes." He looked at her, really looked, and something like light flickered in his tired eyes. "Thank you," he murmured, clutching the box as if it might vanish. From his table, Mark watched the whole thing, and for reasons he couldn't explain, he felt a lump rise in his throat. He noticed things he hadn't before, the boy's thin wrists, the frayed cuffs, the way his mother stood a few feet away, pretending not to watch, her arms wrapped around herself for warmth. When Sophie returned, Mark saw something different in her eyes, a quiet pride, gentle, unspoken. He said, "Thank you," she whispered. Mark nodded, but the world around him didn't look the same anymore. He looked back at the boy, still eating slowly, carefully. as if each bite was a gift, and the woman who stood behind him, her eyes glistening as she mouthed a silent thank you. And for the first time in a long while, Mark closed his laptop. The minutes that followed passed like a dream Mark couldn't quite wake from. Sophie sat quietly, sipping her cocoa again, her gaze still drifting to the boy. Mark found himself watching too, not with pity, but with a strange pull in his chest. He couldn't ignore the woman anymore, standing in the shadow of the terminal pillar. She had that look he knew too well. Exhaustion stretched thin over dignity. He'd seen it once before, in the mirror, after his wife's accident. He rose slowly and walked toward them. The woman stiffened, protective. "I'm sorry," she said quickly. "He didn't bother anyone. We'll move." Mark shook his head. "You don't have to." He knelt beside the boy, nodding toward the napkins. "You drew these?" The boy's lips twitched into a shy smile. "Yeah, I like airplanes. I want to be a pilot someday." Mark glanced at the sketches, crude, but full of imagination and courage. "You've got talent," he said softly. The woman's eyes watered. "He used to draw every day," she said, "before our house burned down. I was a teacher once, but now I clean here, nights mostly." Mark's throat tightened. The fluorescent lights above seemed to hum louder, pressing against the silence between them. "What's your name?" "Janet," she replied. "And this is Elijah." Sophie came running up, holding her father's hand like it was a promise. "Daddy," she said breathlessly, "can we help them?" Mark looked at her, at the tiny hope shining in her face, and he knew the answer had already been written in his heart long before she asked. He reached into his pocket and handed Janet a small white card. "Come by my office tomorrow," he said quietly. "We'll find something better for you. No charity, just a start." Tears slipped down Janet's cheeks before she could stop them. She nodded, her voice breaking. "Thank you." Later, when they finally called Mark's flight, he didn't bore. He sat there, watching Elijah and Sophie lapping together by the window, their breath fogging the glass as planes lifted into the night. For the first time in years, Mark didn't feel late for anything. He was exactly where he needed to be.